Bradley was a Valentine's baby, born full of love from the very start. He was a happy, content child right from the beginning. He found joy in anything and never wanted for much. He was an extremely healthy child and rarely ill, but that could have been down to the fact that he was a typical boy, always outside, always climbing, always dirty, and never a care in the world. Which has reminded me of one of Bradley's most admirable traits. Never sweat the small stuff and separate yourselves from the things that really do not matter. Bradley could already ride a bike without stabilisers at 2 years old, but he refused to hold a pen. He could count to 20 by this time, but would only write his name if given a car in the sand to make tracks that spelt out Bradley. His love of cars started early. Being a daddy's boy, it wasn't surprising really, but his love for JDM cars was possibly a little more of a surprise given that we are a classic VW loving family. His dreams really did come true when he bought a Skyline last year. He loved that car and was so thankful for Kieran for making it look so beautiful. Typical Bradley, he said, "I can use the car to give other children rides and make them feel as happy as I did when I had the ride in the R34 last year." His love for music and dancing was also present from day one. During his time at preschool, they abandoned singing nursery rhymes at home time and would instead sing ABBA songs, as Bradley had taught them all. He went everywhere with his iPod and his speaker. In his younger days, he'd literally dance and sing all day long, usually to Man in the Mirror, which he would play on repeat and practice his Michael Jackson moves. His music choices were eclectic, and they stayed that way right through his life. Slow tie 1 minute, one the next, followed by NF, then Michael Jackson, or some awful drum and bass. You could always tell Brad's mood by the music he listened to. Most recently, Collard Greens was his favourite, and he always played this when he was happy. Teachers would always comment that Bradley was especially kind to others, and he had a special trait for treating everybody equally. They would also say he talks too much, but I've no idea where he gets that from. He was always able to see the real person and never what they looked like or what they wore or how they seemed. Bradley was always everyone's friend, the gatherer of people, but never the leader. He had a great knack for bringing everyone together, but never wanted to be centre of stage. He always recognised that somebody else would prefer that role, and he would step aside and allow them to shine. He never needed that self-validation. He found such happiness in seeing others being content. Bradley was such an easy child, the youngest of 4, with an older brother Zachary who he adored and idolised, and 2 older sisters who he cherished. He was protective of Morgan and had a deep trust with Sydney. He was so content. He was happy on his own or in a room full of people, whether this be friends or strangers. He made friends so easily. People just naturally gravitated towards him, and once he knew your name, he considered you a friend. Right through life, Bradley continued to be infectious, and people continued to gravitate towards him. He was adaptable and could talk to anyone, no matter who you were, a quality rare to so many nowadays. He remained gracious, humble, personable, and likeable, even if he did get a little quieter and a little less sociable as he got older. He was always extremely fair and was all for equality. He was extremely cheeky, with a roguish grin and a little giggle that meant that he got away with far more than he should. But he was never naughty or malicious, and he hated to think that he'd been told off or that he had upset someone. He'd always play fair, and he knew the rules, which again is something he carried through to his adult life. He knew the boundaries, he maintained his honesty, maybe a little bit too honest sometimes, but at least you always knew where you stood and what he thought. He played by the rules, but he never compromised on fun. He was funny, really funny, but in an understated way, But everything Brad did was low-key, never seeking attention, but naturally finding it anyway, just by being the person he was. He understood the meaning of life right from the start. Getting that balance just came naturally to him. But I think that was because he found it so easy to see the joy in things. He found it easy to seek out love and happiness. He was truly remarkable. Growing up, we nicknamed him Mr. Horizontal, as he was so laid back and could literally make friends with a tree. I have no recollection of telling him off for much, and I can honestly say I rarely had a moan that he was getting on my nerves, because he just didn't have it in him. He would always share his belongings with others. He was never bored, and he always made the most of everything. He loved dogs, and he loved red pandas. And when he was 2, he had his very own dog, Oscar. And then every single teddy he owned from then on was a dog named Oscar Dog. By the time he had at least 10 or 12, it became very hard to know which one he meant. This was the same once he developed a love of red pandas. He must have had at least 20 teddies, all named after the Man United team and special people in his life. These ones all carried name tags though, so it was a lot easier to determine who was who. Brad was somewhat a creature of habit. He loved the same foods, and he loved anything red. So usually anything strawberry flavoured hit the spot. If it wasn't red food, then it was beige with a side of ketchup, and unhealthy, like chips, chicken nuggets, a decent Chinese, or a korma, or a pizza. Bradley would rarely look smart, as he never cared for fashion. We all saw his orange coat, right? He never cared for what he looked like, something that followed him through life, and it would drive me insane. He's been to school before now with the soles flapping on his shoes, but he never told us, he never said anything, because as far as he was concerned, they still fit. So that was fine, and he didn't see the need for a new pair. Bradley was an extremely active kid, and this lasted right up until he fell ill. He loved his bike, his scooter, his razor rider, his trampoline. He loved playing football. And he started off playing for Thrapston Tornadoes before we moved to Oundle, and he switched to Oundle Town, where he stayed right up until the under-18s. In the early days, he struggled with commitment and would be lost up a tree when his coach was trying to sub him on the pitch. Or I'd say to him, "You can run faster than that. Why did you let that other guy beat you?" And he'd simply say, "The other guy had been playing rubbish all game, Mum, and he hadn't had the ball, so I thought I'd let him win, and I'd give him a go as I felt sorry for him." He just didn't have a competitive bone in his body. He always thought about others above himself. His under-18s coach Cam recently commented to me how Cam had been watching some footage from the last few years, and it's clear that Brad was so encouraging of the whole team all of the time, shouting words of encouragement and doing up shoelaces for others. He was the ultimate teammate. He was fearless, but not in an aggressive kind of way, but you'd have to watch him when out and about in a crowd. Otherwise he'd make a new friend while walking along the path, and then he'd be following them home for tea without a care in the world or a second glance back to his family. Years ago, I had someone knock at my door one day to tell me that my baby was on the garage roof. Bradley was hardly above a year old, and yet he had managed to escape his cot using his teddies to climb out, swing onto furniture, then onto the windowsill, and out onto the roof. Clearly me placing a lowered cot with full height sides over 10 feet away from the window was not safe enough for a 12-month-old Bradley. I had no idea at that time whether to run upstairs and grab him back in, or run outside and catch him as he fell. Bradley loved his family more than anything. His friends were also his family. It was so important to him. We are a big family, and a standard gathering would be no less than 20 of us getting together, and every occasion would result in a dance show at the end of the evening. The kids would always pair off, Sydney and Georgia, Zachary and Ellie, Sophie, Bradley and Morgan. Brad's dance moves were all much the same and just repeated over and again, but he loved it. They would twirl each other around and practice lifts and break dancing. He loved to let Sophie sit and do his hair and paint his nails. It was of no surprise that Brad requested a party house on his bucket list, for they really were his most favourite times. And boy, we did not disappoint on that one for him either. But at least this time, he took some clothes. On a previous breakaway to a party house in Norfolk for his great nan's 90th, I had packed all the kids' suitcases and left them by the front door. There was a fair amount planned for that weekend, and it required him to need swimwear, a suit, and all sorts. Upon arriving and checking his suitcase for his pyjamas, we noticed that Bradley's suitcase was now just full of teddies and toy cars. When we got home, his clothes had been removed and neatly put on a pile on an arm of the sofa. So typical of Bradley, but he didn't care. He loved all his cousins as much as his brother and sisters, and there are so many days that they can now all sit and reminisce about, both times when they were younger and times more recent. He really did love family, and we love him, and we will continue to love him forever. Brad was in that unfortunate year group at school that got caught up in the school change when the local school changed from the 3-tier to the 2-tier system. And then it was his same year group that was impacted by coronavirus during their GCSEs. But he never let any of that affect him, and he still did really well. Initially, he wanted to continue at sixth form, whilst he thought some more about his long-term goals. But then he was diagnosed with Crohn's, and he entered that first really poorly period of his life. He was very ill, and his weight dropped to under 7 stone. He just could not maintain weight, and he had to give up so much of the food that he loved, as well as the life that he loved. He just did not have the energy to be able to do more than walk downstairs. But he still enjoyed life, and he still made the most of it, spending more of his time online gaming with his friends, who never faltered throughout the periods of his life either. He really was so lucky to have not one, but 2 amazing friendship groups. He loved his gaming as much as anything else, and if he wasn't playing it, he was watching others play it. He always dreamt of having his own Twitch account. He'd have been good at that too. He was incredibly excited and extremely grateful when he got his own PC last year. It was just as his Crohn's was coming under control after a lengthy 2-year battle and 2 years of being isolated with just me and Oscar Dog that he finally got to leave the house again. And that Sunday in mid-June last year, I have never seen him so happy. I wish I could have bottled up the energy and the joy. He'd been to the gym, he'd had a driving lesson, he'd been out for a bike ride with his mates, all the things he'd not done for such a long time. He told us how extremely happy he was to finally have his life back. Only for the next morning, for it to be cruelly ripped away again when he woke up with the worst headache imaginable. The last year has been the hardest and most painful that anyone could ever imagine possible. But Brad never faltered. He showed such strength and resilience and courage, and he showed us all how to make the most out of everything. He still continued to put others first and make the most of every day. He loved his family and his friends, and he cherished every hug and every moment spent with them. We are distraught that he had to leave, but then we know that it wasn't a decision he would have made lightly. He was never in a fair fight, but he fought gallantly. He fought bravely, and he bravely won in the end, for he is no longer suffering, and he is now forever pain-free. The pain we now carry is a testament of our love for him and his love for us. It is a small price that we now pay for his eternal peace and to end his suffering. We are immensely proud of him and his ability to handle what life threw at him. He had the most amazing experiences, from meeting his beloved Man U football team to his amazing matchday experiences, private car meets, car rides, party houses, Red Panda Days, the Sidemen and Bradfest, to name a few. He was honoured to have received the amount of messages he did from celebrities, and he couldn't believe that people had taken the time out to think of him. He always said that he cried more tears over the love and support he had received than he ever did over his diagnosis. He would watch the videos over and over again. All the items he was gifted hung proudly on his bedroom walls, and he would sit and look at them for hours. Brad was unlucky to have only had such a short life, but incredibly lucky to have fulfilled it in the way in which he did, and to have been able to live with such vigour and compassion and understanding of what is important. Something a lot of people never find. I miss you, son. I miss talking shit while watching shitty YouTube and eating shitty food. You filled my days with such fun and laughter. We could talk for hours about anything. I loved keeping up with all the goings on in your friendship groups. It was like an episode of a soap drama sometimes. I appreciate that you trusted me, and I'm grateful for our friendship too. We feel the luckiest people in the world to call Bradley our family. He may no longer be here in person, but he will always be with us, and he will forever impact the decisions we make every day, for he just knew how to do life the right way. And we are all thankful for him, and will live each day like Brad. Thank you, son, for showing me the best version of life. Thank you for being the best friend, the best son, the best brother, the best cousin, nephew and grandson. I am so incredibly excited for the day that we will meet again. But until then, I know you are with us all, encouraging us, supporting us and protecting us. I love you and I miss you so much. I promise I will never leave you. Good night, my baby boy. We love you.
It's been a long day without you, my friend, and I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. We've come a long way from where we began. Oh, I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. When I see you again.
Hello. Damn, who knew? All the planes we flew, good things we've been through. That I'll be standing right here talking to you about another path. I know we love to hit the road and laugh, but something told me that it wouldn't last. Had to switch up, look at things different, see the bigger picture. Those were the days, hard work forever pays. Now I see you in a better place. How can we not talk about family when family's all that we got? Everything I would do, you were standing there by my side, and now you gon' be with me for the last ride.
It's been a long day without you, my friend, and I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. We've come a long way, from where we began.
You know we started.
Oh, I'll tell you all about it when I see you again.
Let me tell you.
When I see you again.
First you both go out your way and the vibe is feeling strong. And what's small turn to a friendship turn to a bond. And that bond will never be broken, the love will never get lost. And when brotherhood come first, then the line will never be crossed. Established it on our own when that line had to be drawn. And that line is what we reach, so remember me when I'm gone. knew you were standing there by my side, and now you gon' be with me for the last ride.
Let the light guide your way. Yeah. Hold every memory as you go, and every road you take will always lead you home. Oh, it's been a long day without you, my friend, and I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. We've come a long way from where we began. Oh, I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. When I see you again. When I see you again, see you
Just a day out with family and friends, really. I don't know.
Like from in the morning, like when you get up to when you go to bed, what will be your perfect day?
Dad's fry up.
Yeah, good shout.
Yeah, and then nice little just family gathering, really. Just all chilling.
Bit of poker.
Bit of poker, bit of drinking, bit of messing around. Can't go wrong with it.
Another milestone achieved. Hospital visit with no wheelchair whatsoever. Just walking.
And I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. We've come a long way from where we began. Oh, I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. When I see